Y'all killing me with this.
So this asshole just, he just shows up. You know what I mean? Like, imagine that. Imagine if I just showed up. I would be rambling. You wouldn't want to listen to this shit.
Yeah.
I just showed up.
Yeah, I know this.
I don't even like, I'm bad at that part of it where I'm like, I don't do like the strategy meeting and go, what are we?
Right.
I just figure it's like, yeah, it's a mothership, it's a great club. You got a camera.
Yeah.
There's a stage.
Don't go too crazy with the design. And that's what the problem was. They went.
See, that's asinine to me. To have any kind of production, anything, whether you're a little YouTube creator or a top-notch, quote-unquote, professional comedian like Tim Dillon, to go into any kind of production with no preparation at all, whether you are the talent or otherwise, is always going to make for a shitty production. That's just the way it goes, right? And you couldn't make it more evident with this line that's about to come out of Tim's mouth. He basically sits there. They're still talking about the show. They're still talking about the comedy special. We're 10 minutes in now to the podcast. We're still talking about that. He's basically admits to Joe, he goes, yeah, I walked on stage and I could tell that like half of the crowd didn't want to be here. Why? You don't do any fucking prep for your comedy special. Did you know that like if you buy tickets for this guy's show, you're basically playing a game of roulette? Did you know that? Because this guy cancels shows all the goddamn time. He doesn't prep for shit. He doesn't show up when he's supposed to. Like, if this guy didn't have a podcast and a Patreon, what would he be doing? He'd be fucking shit up trying to sell cars somewhere or some shit.
Areas, especially San Jose Improv. That place is awesome.
It's always supposed to be awesome, and it was like, it was tough. So it is comedy's such an interesting thing. You got to have an idea of like what you're going to see, who you're going to see.
Yeah.
And because I saw people that 8 o'clock Wednesday show, I'm like, they don't want to be here.
What the fuck?
Look at that. I remember a time when Tim used to be such a humble dude. There was once a time where like if I would have zoomed in on Tim like this, all you would have saw on the top of his head was a comb-over haircut just like mine. Instead, now, he's wearing a black-on-black Louis Vuitton goddamn leather cap. Nobody even wears these goddamn things anymore. Like, celebrities don't even wear these things anymore. And these glasses, what the fuck are we doing? This guy he's almost getting like a Tom Segura, Only thing that really saves Tim with him having this whole like, I'm rich and you're not attitude is that even when he wasn't rich, he always said that he was going to be this person. That's the only thing that saves him. So, like, people will kind of let this behavior slide a little bit because he's always admitted that that's who he was going to be. You cannot knock that. You cannot knock that. What you can knock is the fact that you're going into doing a comedy special with no preparation. You got the room lit the fuck up like it's Guantanamo goddamn Bay. Nobody can everyone sees each other. They're seeing the pores in each other's faces and shit. And then you go, hey, I feel like people didn't, they came to the 8 o'clock show. I felt like they didn't want to be there. I could tell that they just didn't want to be there. Yeah, no shit.
Of an idea of like what you're going to see, who you're going to see.
Yeah.
And because I saw people that 8 o'clock Wednesday show, I'm like, they don't want to be here. Some of these people don't want to be
Joe
here.
Rogan in the background.
Well, I don't think that's the case.
Maybe it wasn't.
I think they were weirded out
by how lit it was.
It was so well lit.
It was so well lit.
There was a light in front of you on your table.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a bad idea.
And then Thursday shows were the best ever.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, we got them to shut off everything.
Yeah.
They said, oh, we're just going to leave these lights on. I'm like, let me see them off. Like the stage light.
Right.
I go, let me see that off.
Right.
Let me dim it down. Let me see it off. Okay, take it off. No, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And they did everything.
Yeah.
So now Joe's sitting, dude, imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine you paid a crew of people like 25 G's to be in this goddamn comedy club, right? and you got this bald 5'2" muscle monkey maniac telling them what to do. I'd be like, dude, are you flipping the bill for this? Are you flipping the bill for this? All right. How's about this, Joe? You tell me, I'll tell them. Chain of command. Let's keep it. You know what I mean? What are we doing? You got this fucking megalomaniac sitting there telling these guys what to do. And I'm not even using the word megalomaniac right. Come on, man. So now Joe's bitching around Tim's team, right? But Tim's sitting back kind of just like taking it because Tim doesn't know what the fuck to do. Tim's been doing comedy as long as he's been doing. He's got one Netflix special that you can't find. No other specials aside from that. You hardly see clips of his stand-up anymore. I'm starting to think that Tim is making the transition from good stand-up to shitty stand-up podcasting. That's what happens with these guys. They start making that Patreon money. They start making that podcast money. And comedy just gets thrown out the window. And then when they do try to write, they forget about the fact that they're writing bits that they talked about on the show. So people a lot of times will go to see their comedy and be like, I already heard half of this shit, you know? So now let's hear Joe talk about how he's bitching Tim's team around and how Tim needs that guidance.
It's so nice owning a club. Where
Of course.
There's no committee.
Yeah.
There's no committee. There's me and you.
You're
What do you want?
You're the dictator.
But it's not even a dictator. It's like
Right.
I do whatever the comic wants. Like,
Right.
whatever you need. Tell me
Right.
what you want. We'll do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You want music? No music? Okay, no
Right.
music. Whatever you want.
No, it's the most comic-friendly club, meaning like you can do anything you with. The reason that I need guidance because I don't know.
What the fuck?
Bro, okay. This is where you start to lose me. This is where you start to lose me on this shit. Bro, you wearing a fucking $3,500 hat. You're wearing $4,500 Louis Vuitton sunglasses. Imagine that. And this guy got Polo Assassin hoodie on. Like, and you don't know? You need guidance? You cannot be acting like this ritzy fucking guy. And you need guidance. That's not what people look up to rich people for. I see a rich guy walking down the street. I go, that guy's got it all figured out. You know? Yeah, he might be a mess emotionally. He might be completely unhappy and an empty shell of a person, but I still look at him as if he has something figured out because he's got an ass load of money. So when you're sitting there wearing this shit, flaunting your riches, and, you know, talking a lot of shit about other people's movies, comedy, different things like that, we expect you to not need any guidance. We expect you to have a remnant of what the fuck is happening here, right? And you're saying this shit now. This is wild.
You want.
No, it's the most comic-friendly club, meaning like you can do anything you with. The reason that I need guidance because I don't know. Like I just know I like being funny.
Well, what you need
Yeah.
with a special
Yeah.
is someone who knows you.
Right.
And someone, like, if I was directing or producing
Right.
your special,
Yeah.
this never would have happened. I would have said, no, we have to have it very dark. Like,
Right.
let's take a look at it.
Right.
Let me hear the sound. Sound's
Yeah.
got to be cranked all the way up.
If I was directing your special, I love that. If I was directing your special. If Joe was directing the special, no one would be able to find him. He's too short. Every single person would be like, where's Joe? He's almost at ground level. Like, guys, I need you to change the lights. Nobody would give a fuck what this guy had to say. Okay? I know I wouldn't. You know? I know I wouldn't. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at Tim's other special, the one that was produced by Ben Avery. You're going to get a kick out of this. This is how much guidance Tim doesn't have. Wait until this is a trailer. I couldn't find the whole special. So I had to go with like a clip or a trailer or something that Tim had ended up posting on his YouTube channel, right? Wait until you get a load of this. This is Tim's stand-up comedy, and this was his last produced special. And you're going to see he's going to come in with this level of experience to Joe's club, and no wonder Joe was like, yeah, turn the fucking lights off, change the whole shit. As a matter of fact, scrap your whole goddamn set. We cannot do this. Firebomb the whole goddamn thing and let's start from scratch. No wonder, because when you see this, you're going to see Tim, the audio is all crazy. It's fucking echoing throughout the theater hall. There's blue lights fucking every goddamn where. Tim's wearing the craziest shit. Hair all messed up. Lighting looks like shit. Like, no wonder. Joe probably walked into his club and was like, I've never even seen my club look like this. What the fuck are you guys doing?
And I don't know what's going on. Are they teaching 2-year-olds about gender theory? Maybe. I don't know. There's always one school that they find in, like, San Francisco.
You hear that echo? You hear the echo? And then look at the way Tim's acting. He's like flaunting it. You never see Tim act like this. You never see Tim act like this. He makes fun of people who do stand-up like this. Sometimes you get these guys on stage, though, they get this deer in the headlights type shit. They start acting like caricatures of themselves almost. You know what I mean? This is what's happening here. Bad audio, bad lighting, bad stand-up. It's just bad.
I don't know what's going on. Are they teaching 2-year-olds about gender theory? Maybe. I don't know. There's always one school that they find in, like, San Francisco. There's always one school they use as an example where the teacher's in front of the kids and she's like, this is my labia.
This is my labia. Dude, we gotta lock this guy up. You know? Wait until they show a full body shot of Tim. This was like the beginning of Tim's hype beast era. This was like right before the transition. Because you notice he's wearing normal shit in this, right? Wait until you see the shoes.
And tonight I'm gonna make it a cock. And your homework is to name my new cock.
Name it. All right, let's get to a frame of it. I want to show you guys the start of the hype beast era. They got a shit right here. Look at his shoes. Watch this shit.
Mrs. Miller, your daughter's a les.
Your daughter's a les.
Let them figure it out.
Okay, come on. Let's get back to okay, so here's the full body shot. Tim, you notice normal shirt, no Louis Vuitton hat, but look at them shoes. We got Lakers colored shoes. That's bright purple, little bit of yelly. You know what I mean? A little bit of yelly on the shoe. This is kind of where it started from the bottom. Then it came all the way up here to the top, you know? So the hypeness, it started from the shoe, and just like gangrene, it spread up his body until it got to the point to where he's wearing the craziest Louis Vuitton hat and glasses you've ever fucking seen. And that's where we are today. So this guy, you know, he can't really figure out his own comedy special shit, right? But remember I told you that this was going to slowly start turning into the Joe Rogan Experience, right? Because right now they're doing a lot of good back and forth. It sounds like a normal conversation. This is not the typical Joe Rogan format where like Joe talks for like 35 minutes, you talk for 30 seconds, and then Joe talks for another 35 minutes, bitches you around a little bit, cuts you off in the middle of talking, but tells you to wait when you try to cut him off in the middle of talking. This is not, at first it wasn't like that. Now we're about to see the transition. He's about to just steamroll this into a typical episode of JRE. Watch this.
He said, I spoke to someone. But you know what's interesting? My friend Bethany, who's like one of the Real Housewife chicks who came up with that margarita. She made like a shitload of money.
Bethany Frankel?
Yeah, Bethany Frankel. Some guy called her, and we did a 3-way call. She goes, I just want you to be on the phone with this dude. And he was just basically like, listen, my dad worked for this and that. And he was, you know, and he goes, he said a lot of what that guy said. He said they're looking for something, and whatever they're looking for, they want to find.
Yeah.
So now here we go. Watch that. Tim gets his point out, right? So now normally if you were, you know, you want to say one little thing, keep the conversation rolling. You don't want to make this a one-sided conversation like Joe typically does. And you remember in the beginning, in the intro, Joe's like, you want to sit in this chair? And Tim's like, no, man. What are you talking about? It's your studio. So Joe, it's not like Joe doesn't understand the dynamic here. So what is it? Does Joe think that this podcast isn't going as good as he'd like it to? What's the reason here? Why are we going to get this JRE landslide come in from the left?
Badly.
Well, if they do have a Skunkworks program where they do have some very sophisticated drones that can do things that these drones are doing. But one of these things these drones are doing is hovering for very long periods of time.
Now, you see how he did that? Watch. Joe does this every time. He'll be sitting back like this, and he starts getting the ball rolling. He starts getting up in his chair. He touches the knobs on the side of the mic. He goes, let's get locked in. I'm about to talk for 78 minutes. This is about to happen.
Drones are doing. But one of these things
Look at-
these drones are doing
touches
is
the
hovering
mic.
for very long periods of
Yeah,
time.
okay.
5 hours.
Okay.
5 hours of flight time is nuts for a drone. And they're not exhibiting this traditional heat signature. Any kind of engine, an electric engine, any engine is going to give off heat. It's going to give off friction. It just has to.
Okay.
So somehow or another, these things aren't doing that. So how are they doing that?
Pass
Do they have
the
a
ball
cooling
back, Joe.
system? And if they have a cooling
Joe, pass the ball back to Tim.
system, what's powering the cooling system, and
Joe, please pass the ball back to Tim.
what kind of batteries are they operating under that they can fly for 5 hours at a time? So Ryan Graves,
Joe, please pass the ball back to Tim. What the? This guy, he's like, seriously, this guy is like going for the whole nine, dude. Like, please give it back to Tim. We don't need this. Now watch, he does it again. Like, not even 5 minutes later, he does it again. He starts getting on this steamroll bullshit, right? He starts talking about a topic, and then Tim's gonna be like, okay, yeah, like Tim talking in his like smoking grandmother voice, right? If you have a grandmother, she's like in her 80s, she still smokes cigarettes. Her and Tim have the same voice. So Joe's gonna keep talking about the topic. Tim's gonna be like, okay, so I'm gonna try to like convert the conversation to something else over here, right? And then Joe's gonna be like, no, wait, before you do that, Jamie, pull it up. And he's gonna start doing the whole thing again. Tim's like, I thought this was my show. What are we doing here? I thought I was the one that was like talking about my comedy special, stuff like that. Now you got Jamie pulling up things on the screen. What are we doing? You know?
I was going to dig into that photographer, but you guys.
right? But did you see that there was other images like you could
No,
scroll?
I know.
Right.
but I
Yeah, So Sony A. What is that, Jamie? How is that a
camera.
badass?
It's a camera.
Is that like the
Just
shit?
New. It's new.
No. Okay, so top of the food chain, right?
Yep.
And that's what he saw.
Jamie,
Whatever.
there's also a video of somebody from a plane, and they're seeing these orbs in the sky above the clouds. There's like a lot of stuff that is lit up.
Could we, before you do that, could
Sure.
we just go back to that image again real quick?
Yeah.
Look at Tim. Tim, bro, this is the depressing. Tim's getting fucked, dude. He's legitimately getting cucked right here. This guy's podcast is getting butt fucked by Joe Rogan, and he's sitting back and watching, sitting in his little corner chair in the hotel, while Joe just takes his podcast to fucking Pound Town. This was crazy when I was watching this. See, he legitimately tells this guy, hold on, shut the fuck up real quick. Jamie, pull that back up. Look at this picture on the, and as soon as he says it, Tim just goes, sure. Like, what are you fucking kidding? I would have been like, yo, dude, I know that we're in your studio, but come on, dude, this is my show that we're supposed to be doing here. You're supposed to be helping me out.
The shit?
It's new.
No. Okay, so top of the food chain, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he saw.
Jamie,
Whatever.
there's also a video of somebody from a plane, and they're seeing these orbs in the sky above the clouds.
Now watch, look, I love this because Tim, he's got his hand going. He's like, Jamie, I'm gonna tell you, pull up the one thing that I got going on over here. I want to see the thing over here. And Tim thinks that he's really got like some balls here now. He goes, now I'm telling Joe's producer what to do. This is crazy, right? And then Joe comes in, not so fast, bitch.
There's like a lot of stuff that is lit up.
Could we, before you do that, could
Sure.
we just go back to that image again real quick?
Yeah, it's so weird.
That is crazy. That's
What the
that's
fuck
kind of
is that?
That's kind of freaking me out.
Look, and Tim has to sit there and try not to make it awkward. He goes, that's so weird. Yeah, what is that actually, now that you're bringing that up? Like, okay, like what the fuck is happening here? You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, dude, this is my show. You gotta like calm this shit down. This isn't Joe Rogan, bro. So let's give it up for Tim Dillon getting his show completely cucked the fuck out by the powerful one, the JRE.
And hold my fart like a bong rip.